Okay, the purpose of this video is to help you figure out how to find the surface area of a cylinder. So in order to find the surface area of a cylinder, you need to make sure that you know the area of each circle. There's two identical circles in this net, and then also the area of this rectangle, which is just length times width. So there'll be certain dimensions that they'll give you before you actually start the problem, but right now we're just going to figure out why it is that we use the formula that you're about to find out. So before you get started, make sure you have the yarn that I gave you and that you also have a ruler. It can be a little white one that I have or one of the bigger rulers. It's just a small measurement. So first thing we want to do is look and figure out how we find this measurement, because they actually don't give you the length of the rectangle, they only will give you the height. So we're going to figure out why it is that we don't need that. So if you take your yarn and lay it around the length or around the edge of the circle, we're trying to find the circumference of the circle. It might be a little bit tricky to lay it flat, but just do the best you can to lay it flat. And it doesn't have to be pulled tight. It can just be pretty loose like this. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to mark that my circle is about this long, and then I'm going to lay it flat against my rectangle right here. If you notice, they're exactly the same length. So the circumference of the circle is exactly the same length as the length of this rectangle. So that's what we're going to write right here so we can remember that. So the length of this rectangle is the measurement of the circumference of that circle. So this length is going to be circumference. This length right here is just, we're going to call height, because if you imagine a cylinder folded upright like this, that would just be the height right here, is what we're imagining when we unroll this rectangle right here. So right now we have this length, which is the circumference, and that is the height. So that's how we'd find the area of the rectangle. So now we need to figure out how to find the area of the circle. So I'm going to put a line right here just to represent that that's one measurement that you'll be given, and now the other one that we need is this one right here. We'll find the radius. So if you take your ruler and measure, do it in centimeters, so it'll be the same as mine. We see that it's 2 centimeters. So I'm going to write that down. 2 centimeters from the center to the edge of the circle. And now we need the height. So if we lay our ruler down, start at 0 and go all the way to the bottom, we can see that it is 8 centimeters, 8 centimeters right there. So if you look at practice problems of cylinders, it's exactly what they give you. They'll give you a radius and they'll give you a height, which is exactly what we've just found right now. So just using those two measurements, we can find the surface area of a cylinder. So in order to find it, we first need to find the area of the two circles, and then we need to find the area of the rectangle. And then we'll add it all up, kind of like our combining our composite shapes that we did from the last unit. So the area of the circles, then the area of the rectangle. So I'm going to come down here so I have a little more room. So the area of a circle, remember, is pi times radius times radius. So our radius, we found out, was 2. So we have 3.14 times 2 times 2. So if I do that on the calculator, 2 times 2 times 3.14, we get 12.56 centimeters squared. Now, remember there's 2 of these, so we're going to come back to that in a minute, but just keep that in mind. We've only found the area of one circle. Now, the next thing we need to find is the area of the rectangle. So the first thing we need is their circumference. Well, we don't know the circumference, so we need to use the knowledge we have in order to find it. So remember, the circumference of a circle is pi times the diameter. Well, the diameter is twice the radius, so we can also say that it's pi times 2 times the radius, if that's a little bit easier for you to remember. So then that means we have 3.14 times 2 times the diameter, which is 2. because we need the whole diameter. If just the radius is 2, then the whole diameter is 4. So we need 4 times 4, just 4 times 3.14. So in this case, the area and the diameter are actually the same. So we have 12.56. So now we have the circumference. And now we need the height. So we have circumference times height to find the area of that rectangle. So we have 12.56. So this is of the rectangle. 12.56 times 8, which is our height. So 12.56 times 8 is 100.48. So we have the measurement of the circle and then the measurement of the one rectangle. So now in order to add everything up, we need to include 2 circles, and then we need to also include the rectangle, 100.48. So then when we add everything up, plus the other two 12.56s, we get 125.6 centimeters squared for our surface area. So again, we found just the area of this rectangle using the circumference and the height, and then we found the area